This is the Team Objection podcast for August 9th, 2018, episode 354. And as the people on YouTube can see, as I center myself on the camera and make adjustments on the fly, it's just two of us. Oh, wrong way. Camera right.
I did it right this time.
You did, and I
amazing.
did. It's been a while because of the lack of D&D recording lately that I have not remembered how to point in the right direction at things. So that's my fault.
It's hard.
But yeah, just me and Michelle this week because other people have prior commitments. Dave has a thing with his kid at school, and Sean has a thing with a thing. So here we are.
It's weird to think that Dave's kids are old enough to have things at a thing at school.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a constant struggle going forward, is things that are like little life achievements and barriers to break, and you go, oh shit, that's a thing now.
Yeah, it's just... time seems to be moving so fast now that I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Like, my birthday was last week. I turned 29. I feel old as hell. But at the same time, I mean, I am old as hell. But at the same time, it kind of feels like not much has changed, but then everything has changed. Time is weird. It's an illusion, but also it's very real.
It's a flat circle.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I am 33 going on 34, and I'm now starting to grapple with the idea that I might be running a newspaper. It's still in the works, but I think it's going to happen. And so here I am, all of a sudden, like a professional.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you were expecting that shit at all, so that's a lot. That's a big change. No. But I mean, that is pretty cool. It's all things considered. I know it's really stressful for you right now, but that would be kind of huge.
Yeah, I'm going to use it to pick up chicks.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you might as well. If you got it, flaunt it, right?
Sure. So we decided to run back an old idea that we probably did, 50, 60 episodes ago now. I feel like that was pre-Ep 300.
It was a while back. Like, it feels like it was sooner because I remember it at all. But I think it was pretty old.
It was also Old House for sure, so that dates it a bit. And, to be honest, we were doing 2 episodes a week for a while there before everybody's schedules went to shit. And as a result, the number of episodes goes back quicker than you think.
True.
So we're running back the old Tumblr questionnaire. Because when
love these.
Hurting for ideas and or too strapped for time to come up with anything, what you can then do is just steal surveys and then repurpose them for your own doing. It's fine. It's great.
I love it. I am kind of weirdly obsessed with Tumblr questionnaires or surveys because, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of high school or like middle school when you would write questions. I don't know if you ever did this, but I was really into, it was kind of like journalistic, I guess. I would have my draft book. This actually predates. This is like elementary school. Get my draft book. I would write up questions and I would survey all my friends. And so I actually have like a bunch of questions and answers from people from like 6th grade. And they're really funny. Like one was like, how old do you want to be? Which is like the weirdest, like, what kind of question is that? And like, I remember answering it being like, I want to be like 20. I thought that was so old. I thought it was like the oldest you could possibly be.
Practically dead.
To be like cool. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I want to be out of school, but like, I don't want to have any responsibilities. I want to be 20. It's like, what? No. And like people would say things like, I want to be like 45. And it's like, why would you want to be 45? You're 12. Like, doesn't make any sense. It was pretty amusing, but I was kind of obsessed with that as a kid. And as I got into like LiveJournal and then I got into Tumblr later, they're kind of everywhere. And I kind of like talking about myself. I'm a little bit narcissistic in that way. So I love these. And some of the questions are actually kind of fun, like things you wouldn't think about normally.
Yeah, I only have the middle phase of that. I definitely did my share of these on LiveJournal, which I will unabashedly say I had for like 6 years.
Oh, man.
And definitely some of my teenage angst went into it. But I didn't do the thing before that, and I have never had a Tumblr. I've barely associated myself with Tumblr, and 90% of my experience with Tumblr is basically things you've sent me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, honestly, it's kind of a shithole. I mean, it's always been a shithole, but especially lately, I don't know what happened, but it's broken. You basically can't navigate it anymore. Images are completely broken. I can't chat with anyone on there. It's kind of weird. Like, I think it's on its way out. I don't know what the next stage is, because I truly do think it went from like LiveJournal to Tumblr. Well, actually, there was like a DeviantArt thing, and then Tumblr, because people are posting a lot of. Maybe it's Instagram is where it's going.
Instagram keeps kind of ramping up in popularity.
It does. Everyone has an Instagram. I mean, I don't really get Instagram. I also didn't really get Tumblr initially, so...
I'm a little surprised by Instagram's buy-in, if only because they still haven't let it so you can do it on PC or like a computer. It's like still only
That's
mobile.
true. That's true and really weird.
And yet it keeps growing. So
it
it's
does keep growing.
Not that limiting of a factor, I guess.
Yeah, it's really weird. And weirdly enough, like Snapchat seems to be a thing still too, which I truly don't understand very much. It's kind of fun, but I don't know.
I guess this is where I start getting the old man on the lawn syndrome because I'm like, man, I don't send snaps.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it can be kind of cool in the moment. I think it's a lot better for young people because they're out doing stuff. They have a lot of friends they want to send shit to. I'm old. I don't do anything. I don't have a lot of friends I want to send stuff to. But I have some younger friends who love it. And so they'll send me. I have a friend who's 21, literally a child. Whenever I walk around with him, I'm like, this is my son. But he was at a festival this past weekend. And he sent me a bunch of snaps. And they were video snaps. And they're really cool because I wasn't there. But... like, this is the only real use case I can see for it, to be honest.
Yeah, makes sense. So the thing we've stumbled upon for this particular time is called 84 Questions. Why 84? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think they just ran out of... they're, like, trying to get to 100, and they're like, I can't think of any more.
The last one,
84.
which we're not going to ask for our purposes, is there anything you should be doing right now? Which I assume is why it ended, because they went, oh, shit, I just spent an hour writing up 84 questions. This must be the cutoff. But it's from September 12th, 2013, which has to be pretty early in Tumblr's time, I would imagine. First couple of years, maybe?
I actually don't know how... I think I had a Tumblr in, like, 2011, I want to say. But it was...
When did Tumblr start?
I want to say it was before 2010.
2007,
but...
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I had one a few years after it... Actually, I should see when this account was made, because... it's pretty old.
Tumblr was before DeviantArt?
Before?
Tumblr was February 2007. DeviantArt's listed here, at least, as August... oh, 2000. I'm fucking stupid.
Okay, yeah. I was like...
I saw the 7
on that...
in August 7th, and I thought it said 2007.
I was
like,
on
what?
I was on DeviantArt, like, the year 2000. Like, the year that it came out, I was in there, and it was... you know, it was actually really cool for a time. It kind of fostered a really cool environment of artists, but now it's a ghost town. There's no one there. Everyone moved to Tumblr, and now everyone's moving to Instagram. So
and Instagram was 3 years after Tumblr, so I guess its peaking time makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, so not as early in as I thought, but still 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so 84 questions. We're just going to pick and choose some off the list, put the other people to the test, answer them ourselves, and then, see how it goes.
Yay, fun!
I'm going to make you go first because I haven't chosen any. I thought I was going to, and I didn't.
Okay, so I actually have this. I just saw this one. It wasn't on my list, but I'm actually curious because I don't think I looked in your room when I was visiting your house. Number 30. Is there anything hanging on the walls of the room you're currently in? I actually know this one, but I'm going to switch that. You can talk about the ones currently in the room, but I want to know if there's anything hanging in your room.
In my room, no. There's absolutely nothing, and I haven't done anything like that since I was a kid, probably. And
what?
I don't know why. There are certainly things I would like to hang. I have a shadow box from Link to the Past that's just on a bookshelf on top of it, displayed sort of like it's on the wall, but not really. The thing I really wanted to do, actually, I was looking into doing some prints of various video game art that I really liked, like a still from Tomb Raider and one from Persona 5, and I thought it would be really cool to turn that into art. And I actually started getting some good quotes on prices for it, found like a 90% off deal, and then I remembered that's copyrighted, and you can't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't just be like, here, a place that does image printing. It's the same with 3D printing, too. If you have like a library that does 3D printing, they can't really accept copyrighted images because then all of a sudden they're really exposing themselves to liability. So I might have made moves to fix it, but I didn't, and so as a result, I have 0 on the wall.
Aw. As I get older, I love putting things on the wall, and putting things on the wall means that I'm comfortable and I'm like ready to move in, I guess, because when I first moved to Portland, I had a bunch of mostly concert posters, and they never left the closet for the year that I was there. mainly because I knew my relationship wasn't going to last, and I was like, I'm just going to have to box these back up anyway, so I never did. But then I moved here to the place I'm currently at, and I was just like, it's fucking party time. I keep swearing, I'm sorry. It's party time. And so I have a bunch of stuff on the walls in my room. In this particular room, there is a really weird, like, pretty, like, wide painting of, like, a field with trees, and it's, like, red and orange. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of weird. And behind me, I have a Neutral Milk Hotel poster. Shocking, I know. I have my puzzle of the Neutral Milk Hotel in the aeroplane over the sea. I have one of a cat that's, like, falling sideways with a bunch of gaming consoles, which I love. And then there's some other thing in the back that you can see right there that I don't really know what it is, but it's cool.
It's a man with a tiki mask.
I'm not sure exactly what it is. But in my room, I have like tons of music posters. I have a thing my friend made. No, I'm going to backtrack. Didn't make. They got it for me for my birthday. They commissioned art of me in like a cartoon kind of form, and they framed it and gave it to me for my birthday, which is weird. Like, I received it and I was like, this is weird. But it was kind of cool. Like, it definitely looks like me. And so I put that up, which is weirdly narcissistic as well.
Yeah,
to have a picture of yourself on your wall.
Yeah.
A little, but it was cute. And it had like a cactus in my hands. So I'm like, that's accurate. That's fine.
That's just, that's a self-portrait, really.
Yeah. And then I have some weird art that I found at like a local like art thing, and it's just like geometric patterns. I put a lot of stuff on the walls. I like having things on the walls. It makes me feel cozy.
Well, the truth of the matter is I like having things on the wall, but I seem to have anything that I have up in public spaces all the time. Even at like older apartments, anything I had, like a mirror that had like a poker for $2 sign and with a dead man's hand on it, that was kind of neat. Or like little signs that were, at the time, seemingly funny, but they were really just sarcastic and pain in the ass. Men, your aim, we aim to keep this bathroom, please. Men, your aim is important. Please stand as close as possible. Women, we'd like you to stay seated for the entire performance. Something like that that's supposed to be funny, but really isn't.
Yeah.
But even now, like, you know, some of the art we have downstairs, pretty much everything that's in the common areas is mine. And for me, I'd rather display it somewhere where people are going to see it than in my room where no one ever visits.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair, but like no one visits my room either. And I just like to have it surrounding me. I think especially because it's art that I have up as opposed to just like silly little like funny things. It's like I can actually like smoke some weed and like look at my pictures and be like, this is nice, and like it kind of makes me happy. So it kind of makes you just feel more comfortable and at home. But I can see like depending on the art or the whatever you have to put on the wall, it might not be as important to put up in your room.
Yeah, I still need to put some more things up, actually. I have a few sitting behind me. Like, hell, I can put it on camera for the people who are watching at home. Like, there's this that I want to try and put somewhere.
That's cool.
The box art from Super Metroid. I have a couple more Zelda ones that match the ones that are up on the wall behind me. I have a cell animation, like one shot of Barney Rubble, and it has Barney Rubble as the title in quotes, which I think is funny.
Cute.
It's meant to be for discerning taste, the Barney Rubble. So I have a lot of other pieces around here that I could put up, but almost none of them, if any, will go up in the room. I don't know why. I wouldn't be opposed to art in my room. I just don't have any.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe someday.
Yeah. I'm going to repurpose number 56. It says, what programs do you currently have open? I'm not really interested in that so much as what programs and or apps, I guess, if it's a phone thing, do you use the most? Okay,
let's see here. Let me see. We're talking about phone apps?
Yeah, or computer programs, I guess.
Oh, definitely Google Chrome is my main browser. It's always up, always. I have the current computer I'm using is a work computer as well. So I have a Microsoft Teams up. I have Outlook up. And I always have like Photoshop and Illustrator for personal reasons and for work reasons. And Notepad, because I don't care about using fancy like note-taking things. I just want my stupid Notepad open. So I always have that. I always have that open no matter what. And I actually just discovered that I have Verizon on my phone. I just discovered that you can download an app on your computer and it will like sync all of your messages so that you can actually like send texts on your phone or on your computer, which is really cool. So like if I don't have my phone with me, I leave it at home, I forget about it or something, or it dies, I can still receive and send text messages through my computer. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do something like that because I could then type responses so much faster than I can text.
Yeah,
them.
I know. It's really nice. I don't know what carrier you use, but my Verizon's pretty sweet. And it brought in like all of my contacts. And so, yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I have Verizon, so you'll have to show me how to do that after the show. Help this old man with technology.
I will. What do you have?
I was your age. So my main programs are Firefox is the main one. I haven't made the transition to Chrome, even though I think it's better than Firefox now.
I don't know. I would argue like I use Chrome, but Chrome takes up so much CPU, and Firefox does not. And Firefox has really good developers tools. I don't know if that's something you care about, but like if you're trying to see, I don't know, something on a website, they're really, really advanced and really good. I kind of want to go back to using Firefox, but it's just kind of force of habit, so I use Chrome. But it is a CPU sucker, for real.
Well, luckily I have a computer that is not going to be bothered by that, but I suppose if I was on my laptop or something else, there's definitely a point in that favor. For me, it's just a decade of building up Firefox, like bookmarks and things being where they're supposed to be. Yep. I have almost the same thing as you, which is WordPad as opposed to Notepad, because Notepad, I just hate that Courier font so much.
Oh my god, I like it!
Nope, can't stand it. But I have WordPad on, I have 5 things in my bar in the start menu. I have virtually nothing on my desktop because I'm a neat freak. But WordPad's one of them because if I just need a place to type up something, I want that. I don't want Google Docs. I don't want to start a new Google Doc. I don't want to open the full Microsoft Word because then it's going to bug me about what templates I want and blah, blah, blah. I don't need page margins. I just need a place to dump text.
Yep.
And then beyond that, some of the programs I'm using a lot as far as the show, I have Audacity open a lot for recording purposes. I have OBS for all the video stuff, including all of our video game recording now. There used to be a separate program for that, but now it's all through OBS. God, what else? Windows Media Player, I still use some.
Oh, I forgot to mention I have Spotify constantly open. So
yeah, same idea.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my question.
That was a good one.
Again.
Well, okay, wait, first, I want to see if there's anything different on my phone that I have open. I have Skype open on my phone. I have all of my exercise and, food counting stuff on my phone. That's actually a new one.
That's handy.
It's very handy, and all of it's, connected to, this digital scale, and so it, transfers to my phone, and then that goes through my Fitbit, which I got a Fitbit. Hey!
Ding.
Let's see here. I have Tumblr open. And that's really it. Sometimes I have Facebook Messenger open if someone's talking to me, but usually that's not. And so for the most part, it's almost the same.
Yeah, on my phone, it's basically the music player is the main one. What is the browser by default? Is it Chrome that I've been using on here? I think it is. Yeah. I have Firefox installed, but I actually use Chrome on my phone for reasons I don't fully understand. Hangouts sometimes, just for when I'm not at home for Gmail purposes. And then there's a bunch of stupid mobile games that I do idly in the late night when I'm going to bed. Final Fantasy Record Keeper, Kingdom Hearts UX, whatever the fuck, Unchained thing, Jobber, whatever. Who knows what the titles are in that series anymore. Stuff like that. And Boggle.
Nice.
That's probably my main app is Boggle.
That's fun.
Because if I have 5 minutes to spare when I'm on the go, I just beat 7 other people's asses in Boggle in a tournament.
Man, I used to have Words with Friends. I loved that app. And then I just got too obsessive, and I was like, I have to get rid of this. I have a lot of games that come and go on my phone, but I just get a little too fixated, and so I have to get rid of them.
Well, now that you mention it, I actually remember you were playing Words with Friends when we went on that California trip, which was
oh my god,
4 years ago now.
That was towards the tail end because I haven't played in a long ass time. Yeah. But yeah, that's fun.
But you were yelling at Jake for not responding in his game, the game you had with him or somebody. Maybe it wasn't Jake, but someone wasn't taking their turn, and you were like, "Come on, take our turn." And now I understand.
Yeah, I was a little aggro about that game, and I got I was cheating. I was starting to cheat, and I was like, "That's not cool."
There are ways to do it.
Very easy ways to do it, and I was like, everyone else was cheating. I could tell. It's this. You have no. you never would have known this word.
Yeah.
You're cheating, totally.
It's bad
so I was
enough.
like, well, I'm going to cheat.
It's bad enough when people know all the 2-letter words, because there's like 80-something of those, and that's
Oh my
kind of
God.
nonsense. But when they're busting out 8-letter words that are never used by anybody in mankind's history, I'm like, okay.
I know. And that's how it felt like, especially if I was playing against people I didn't know, which that's what I had to resort to because I was playing like 18 games at once.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And I was like, well, if you're going to cheat, I'm going to cheat. And it just wasn't fulfilling after a while. And so, yeah, I dumped it.
I could never get into Words with Friends. I'm not as big a Scrabble fan as Boggle in the first place, but I still like Scrabble. But the problem was the waiting. It wasn't like real time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand it. I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would come across some people, like I played that a lot in high school, or was it college? It was college. But I'd come across people who actually were playing it like in real time and they were really fast, and so that was really fun. But if you're waiting days for a response, it kind of throws off your groove.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's your question now.
Okay, so this is all right. I'm gonna okay. So number 49, longest drive you've ever been on.
Huh. Days total or 1 day?
Days total.
I think the longest road trip I've ever been on was to, God, where did we end up? I think it was Louisiana.
Wow.
Let's see. I have to remember this because this was when I was like maybe just starting high school or maybe in middle school. That's actually not as far of a drive as I thought. It's only 22 hours. That's
a lot.
I'm pretty sure it was Louisiana, though. Might have been... No, it couldn't have been Tennessee. We didn't go that far. I think it was Louisiana. We went through Texas. We went through Oklahoma City. Actually, this was 1995. So it was actually earlier than I thought because I was 10. And the only reason I remember... Ooh, is that right, though? Hold on. I can figure this out. I'm going to Google everything this time. When was the Oklahoma City bombing?
Oh, yeah. That wasn't like 95, right?
So I think it was 2000 then. I would have been 15. So it was high school because I believe it was the 5-year anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, or right around then, because I remember the newspaper had a whole bunch of stories about it on the front page, and then even to little me, who was not into newspapers yet, I was baffled. It had color comics in the daily paper. Mm-hmm. So the Oklahoma City paper was there. That was where it was at, man, because I could read all the Garfields.
Nice.
And he was an orange cat instead of a gray cat. So we went through Oklahoma City. That was kind of a neat place. We went through Texas. We stopped at Etling Lake in the Panhandle at Oklahoma.
Huh.
So we have a sign of my grandpa posing by it. So that was... With my grandma at the time, we couldn't afford to travel in huge chunks. I think we spread that out over 3 days worth of driving. So I guess about 22 hours. In one session, I drove all of a 12-hour drive to Colorado in one sitting once, and it was awful.
Yeah, in a single sitting, I went from San Francisco to Flagstaff. I think it was 12 hours. It was terrible, and I got pulled over within like half an hour of getting home. I was like, please just let me go home. I'm so tired. I know my light is out. I don't care. Please just let me go home.
I got pulled over a half hour before my destination on that long Colorado drive.
Really? What is that? That's so weird.
Well, it was my fault. It's the only time I've ever been pulled. Well, no, it's not true. I've been pulled over twice. The other one was really, really stupid. I'd never been cited or even given a warning. But this time, after driving 12 and a half hours straight, after a school on Friday, so we were getting in at like 2:30 a.m. after leaving NAU, we went to the store to pick up some things, and I just was tired and eager to get there, and I was tailgating a car, and it was a cop. I was like totally tailgating a car. It was a cop in plain sight. It wasn't like one of those, like nondescript vehicles. It was a cop. And he pulled me over. He was like, where are you from? He could see I had Arizona plates. He could see I was tired. He's like, do you drink? I was like, I don't drink at all at the time. I didn't. So it was fine. But yeah, long drive plus that was like, please just let me go. I don't care right now.
I know. It's so rough. I don't know why that. I guess maybe we just kind of like get so anxious to be where we need to be that we kind of like let things go a little. In my case, it was truly that the light, like my front, I think my tail light or my front light was out, and I didn't even know. I couldn't even tell because I was so tired. And he just pulled me over, and I was just like, and he pulled me over at the exit to my parents' house. Because like I was living in Flagstaff at the time. My parents live in Parks, and he pulled me over at the Parks exit. I was like, I hate this. I hate this. But I think the longest trip that I've been on, we I've been on so many weird trips. I can't actually remember all of them, but I know going to Yellowstone and back was pretty long. I think we did that over the course of, I think it was only one day getting there. It was a long drive, and then we were there for 2 days, and then we came back. But Yellowstone was cool. And we also went up to Idaho once. I don't know why. I truly don't know why.
There's nothing there.
Nothing there. And I think we like went to visit like family in Salt Lake City, and we went all the way up. So we did a couple of these like weird Southwest, Midwest-ish kind of road trips. But I don't really remember the drive very much. But yeah.
Things falling apart on me. That's why I keep glancing off to the sides.
That's okay.
Apparently, we just had a verdict in a case that was happening around here, and we had no idea it was coming today. So great.
Whoa, really?
I will deal with that afterwards. Yeah, I believe this is the person who like abused her and killed her nephew in Ash Fork. But anyways.
Holy shit.
Yeah, great times.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I don't like. I used to like long road trips, and now if it's more than 8 hours, I'm like,
Dude, what's in my hair? There's something. Oh, there's just something in my hair. There's a spider in my hair. That's cool. Great. I'm not terrified of spiders or anything.
No, we don't have recorded evidence of past experiences with spiders.
Holy shit. Did you see it? It was like right here.
No, but I'll have to check the tape.
God, anyway. I went up to Seattle last weekend. Yes. And it's only a 3-hour drive, but I went up in like the afternoon, drove up 3 hours, parked my car, walked around for about an hour, sat down for the show for 3 hours, and then drove home sitting down for the 3 hours. My ass was so sore. In fact, I think today's the first day that it hasn't hurt. I was butthurt for like an entire week.
Yes.
It was so painful. I was like, what is this? I'm old. I can't deal with this.
Well, the only worst thing that a road trip is an uncomfortable road trip.
I know. Ugh.
At least if you have comfy seats. Maybe you're a little compacted and you need to get out and stretch sometimes, but you're fine overall. But if it's uncomfortable, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and my car seats are pretty comfy. I don't know what the deal was. I was also driving, and I kind of have weird posture when I'm driving, and so I think it was, perfect storm of stupidity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like doing that shit anymore. I used to go up and back from Flag to Phoenix in an evening to see a show, and it would be fine. I wouldn't think twice about it. And now I'm just like, how about I never do that again?
Yep. Welcome to getting old, and you're not even 30 yet.
I know. Ugh.
Number 9 is a musical artist you love that isn't well known. Should we do that one?
Yeah, I was thinking, I didn't put it down on mine because I was like, Chris is going to hate me if I mention it. But if you mention it, this should be fine.
No, I'm actually going with number 11.
Oh.
That's my lucky number. Apparently I'm on a technological kick, but I'm interested in the idea of a slightly modified version of this. What is your desktop background currently, and also just in general, what type of things do you put as your desktop background?
What is mine? Oh, how boring. It's just like a standard blue screen. So I had to reformat my computer because it got a virus on it or something. And so I just haven't changed it. And it's actually been reformatted for like 2 months and I haven't changed anything. But usually it's album covers that I love. Yeah, almost always album covers that I love. So I have to think of what I want to change it to. But
something, apparently.
Something, because right now it's just like a navy blue, like wispy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boring.
Mine are traditionally, when I was younger, it used to be like cool geometric shapes or patterns.
I like those too.
They're always usually dark. I like dark backgrounds and not bright ones. More recently, the last 5 years or so, I find that I like doing slideshows of nature pics that are neat.
I like that too, actually.
I like the changing every half an hour so that, I know as time is progressing when I'm working or whatever, I go, another half hour. But also because it's nice to have the variety, so I can, as I'm clicking around on files and moving things around, I go to the desktop and there's a new picture, I go, oh, cool, there's that waterfall I like, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. What was it? Is it Windows that does it? Yeah, like when you get your login screen, they always have like a different picture, like a nature photo in the background. I love that. Like, I like that you can say, yes, show me more like this. And so they'll kind of tailor your interests and show you more things. I like that. And I honestly love looking at nature photos and videos too. I'm like weirdly obsessed with like looking at videos of like running water. It's like really soothing to me. So.
Well, I have good news for you. That's all I shoot when I'm out. Like if I showed you the stuff I have from Hawaii, half of it is waterfalls and or streams that are just running. It's video of it and pictures.
It's so cathartic to listen to. It's mostly listen. Like it's nice to see it too, but for me, it's like hearing a babbling brook is like one of the coolest sounds. I love it.
Would you ever get a noise machine that has that though, or do those things
Yeah,
bother you?
I've done it. I've done it before. Like when I was younger, for some reason I was having like some problems sleeping, had some insomnia, and so my parents got me like an alarm clock, which is dating me a little bit, but it was an alarm clock and it also had like sounds like added in and you could choose, and one of them was a babbling brook, and I pretty much only use that. Sometimes I would use a thunderstorm, or like just like crickets, like a night, like peaceful night scene kind of a thing. I really like that kind of thing. I've always liked it. I am a big fan of like field recordings and stuff like that, and I kind of now I know why. Like I listened to those a lot when I was younger.
Yeah, I don't blame you. The problem I have with the sound effects though is like if you can hear them loop.
That's the worst. It has to be organic. I know.
That cannot happen.
Well, because then you're anticipating it and you're not relaxing, and it's just the opposite of what you intended it to do. So,
yep,
yeah,
that's the worst.
That can be bad. That is the worst. That's got to be a high quality.
I've heard white noise even that has a loop point, and I'm like, nope.
As
soon as I hear it, it's over. I'm done.
No, that's terrible. There are bugs all over my house. There's one on the microphone right now. What is happening?
Show it. Do it for the video viewers.
Okay, just a
well,
second.
I don't know if it's clipped on, but...
Oh, God, you can't... Oh, no. Do you see it? No!
Yeah, I see it. There it moves.
There it goes!
I say no, but it's there. It'd be funny to gaslight you on it, but no.
Yeah.
No, Michelle, there's no such thing as bugs.
And I think there's one in my seat because it was in my hair and I fluked it off. Yeah.
This is great.
What the hell?
Welcome to summer.
This is becoming like a Kafka novel. Next thing you know, I'm actually going to turn into a bug.
Yeah, or get carried off by them. Either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Just all of a sudden your chair is just going, and I'm like,
And there she go.
Bye, Michelle.
Yep.
Solo show. Let's ask myself Tumblr questions.
Yes.
Woo. All right, it's your turn.
My turn. I already think I know the answer to this, but I'm more interested in knowing if you've ever worn jewelry and if you ever want to wear jewelry. But the question is, do you wear much jewelry?
Nope.
Ever?
No, not anymore.
No, like puka shell necklace or anything from the 90s?
No. I used to some. I wore a watch for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
I had some things I would wear around my neck. I had like one of those more tight. It was like, I wasn't even say like a chain. It was more like a necklace that had links to it, but it was relatively thin, and it would go around my neck pretty tightly. I still have several of the things I used to wear when I was like in college. I have one that has the alchemy logo from Full Metal Alchemist on it. I have a cross that I got from Kairos when I was in high school. I have there's one other one in there. There's one of the, so it's not a lei. I forget the term for it, but it's the dark big beads that they give to males in place of leis in Hawaii.
Oh,
there's a word for it I don't remember, but I have one of those that I kept from the trip.
That's cool.
Never wear that in public. It looks like anal beads, if anything. So I have a few things around here. I haven't worn anything really full time or even part time since like 2011, probably.
Yeah, I am not super jewelry stoked. Like I wear necklaces. Like I love necklaces, but I have to be in the right mood for them. It's a kind of a hassle. I have my ears pierced, but they're really sensitive. I can only wear like stainless steel or gold, and so it's kind of like that limits my options. I hate having shit on my wrists, which I'm wearing a Fitbit, and it drives me bonkers, but I'm getting used to it little by little. And like I basically cannot wear rings for the same reason that I don't wear earrings for the most part, because I'm allergic to like everything. So unless I had if I had like a titanium like band or something, like a wedding band, or I don't know, I wouldn't wear a ring just because. It would have to be pretty much a wedding band thing. And even then, I might prefer to just like wear a necklace with the ring on it, which sounds weird.
Yes.
But I don't like rings. I don't like them. I've never liked them. Though I did very much like a mood ring I had when I was like 11. The only ring that's ever made the cut.
Does it accurately portray your feelings though?
No, because it always said I was in love. I was like, I'm 11. I don't even know what that means. It was so stupid, but it was pretty. Like, it usually showed like a dark blue or like a seafoam color, so it was really pretty. It just didn't accurately reflect anything ever.
It's just colors. And it would change
sometimes,
just
colors.
And you'd be like, "Ooh, that's my mood now," and you're like, "Wait, no."
They should just call them like a heat-sensitive ring, because that's all it was. It was just heat.
Yeah.
And I prefer that than saying it's like a reflection of my moods. Like, if I'm cold, I might be more irritable for some reason. But if I'm hot, I'm not like, I'm in love. Like, that's stupid. Like, maybe I'm just sweating because it's like 95 degrees in my house right now.
I remember as a kid, not a late kid, so like right around middle school age, thinking that those were weird because, you know, as a middle school kid, you're going through a lot of things, especially internally. And so I thought to myself, okay, what if I wear the mood ring and it tells everybody that I'm aroused?
Yeah. And that was always one of them. It was like, red means like horny. It's like, great. So if it's red, everyone's going to point at me and be like, you're horny.
It's going to be bad enough if I'm sticking out of my shorts, but now I can't even hide it because I have a ring on my finger. So even when I'm sitting down, people are going to know. Shit.
This is one thing that when I talk to men more and more and they tell me about adolescence, I'm like, damn, I'm glad I don't have a dick. Or I didn't have a dick back then. Like, that's definitely a huge difference. I mean, I think we've talked about this briefly before, but like, yeah, like women have their periods and that can be really uncomfortable and awkward or whatever. But like boners when you're like 14, shit's rough. It's just, it'll happen no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it. And it could be for no reason. Usually it's for no reason. Mm-hmm. I just feel so bad. Like, it's weird. This is a weird thing. I don't remember ever seeing a boy with a boner all through elementary, middle, or high school. I don't know if I just like wasn't looking at people's crotches, which is possible, but like I never noticed. If that's any consolation to any 12-year-old boys who are listening right now, I never noticed. So don't call attention to it. Maybe people won't notice. That's
the problem, is that I didn't spend a lot of time looking at anybody's crotches, male or otherwise, in middle or high school or whatever. But there were definitely a couple times I remember, particularly in middle school, where someone went to great lengths to try to hide the fact that it was happening. And I mean, God bless them, they had to try, I guess.
Poor
but
thing.
You could just tell that they're like trying to walk up to the front of the class and they're extremely hunched over and they're they're covering a book in a certain way. So like, it was not a common thing, and I'm sure it happened more than anybody noticed. But at the same time, it happened. I
just wonder if because it wasn't my experience as a woman, a girl, that I just, even if that was happening, if somebody's like walking around with like a book over their crotch, I wouldn't have even connected it to boners because like I didn't. And I had a brother. I didn't notice. Holy shit. My cat. What the hell? Did you see? I don't know if you saw any of that.
Well, a lot of things shook.
She just leapt, not onto the table, paws, claws, digging into the side of the table, just hanging. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. What just happened? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't see her at all, but the camera shook a lot.
What in the world is going on? And then she just walked away.
Mm-hmm. She's just reminding you.
Anyway, boners. Never noticed them. Not one.
That was the thing I kind of wondered when I was younger, and I guess I still do now to an extent, was like, so if a guy noticed another guy going through the problem, you're like, yes, I understand your struggle. That sucks. And you didn't really think twice about it other than like, that sucks for you.
Yeah.
What did girls think? And
I didn't think at all.
You didn't really notice, so you can't really answer that question. But I'm curious, like, was it something to make fun of? Like, I never really had a sense of it.
I think among boys it's something to make fun of. I don't know about girls because, again, I didn't know it was happening, like, at all. And I was very naive, very, very naive. But it's just, I want to ask some of my like girlfriends now and be like, hey. Did you ever see boners in elementary and middle school? What was that like for you?
Watch everybody pop a boner.
I know.
I always wanted to know, like, I mean, as a middle schooler, I had a lot of questions about everything that was going on. Wet dreams were another problem.
Oh, God, I know. You poor things.
Yeah, a couple times. Not too many times, a couple times.
That's
good luck
kind of remarkable. That. A couple? My
Yeah.
God. I think that's like on the very low end.
Well, I also didn't sleep naked, so
Is
there
that
were.
a thing?
I don't know. Well, if you do, what's to stop you from ruining the sheets?
Oh, the sheets. I see.
Whereas if you have
Oh, the
boxers or
sheets.
whatever, there might, if it's not too bad, you might have managed to avoid the sheets, which are the most noticeable thing because your mom wants to know why you're washing your bed at
At like 2 a.m.
6 a.m. the next morning on a weekday before school. It just needs to be washed, Mom, okay?
So, okay, this is a really inappropriate question. I could just Google it right now.
All right.
But like, but like,
Here comes me,
Is it-
expert on things, I guess.
is it a normal amount of ejaculation or is it less?
Well, I would assume it was a normal amount, but I don't actually know. I never compared it to a
Okay.
median for science.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that it would be a normal amount, which that sucks.
It was
Poor
enough that there
boys.
was no salvaging it, you know? Like, so you can't...
Aw.
A drop or two somewhere you might be able to cover up or hide or
Yeah,
just wait till
that's-
the things are ready next time. But if there's a splotch, then you're done. You're done.
No.
You're done.
Oh no, that's so rough.
Anyways,
See, that's-
the point I was building to was that like the ones I hated the most. So I never really had the in front of the class problem. I just found it all to be annoying in general because I'd be in the
Yeah.
middle of whatever and it was distracting. It was uncomfortable. It was weird, and you assume everybody notices even though you're in a desk. And it's
Yeah.
you know school desks like there's not a lot of you can't really see much because there's a table that either it's either a desk where like you have that armrest and it wraps around you so you're like your lap is covered
Yeah.
or you pull your chair in because it's a regular table or something so people aren't going to notice but you assume everybody in a 3-mile radius knows.
Oh, of course, yeah, and they're trumpeting to everybody else so that everyone else knows.
And like again like you said it's for no reason.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, at that age, it's like you just want to be ashamed of your body because it's changing. You don't feel comfortable with it because you think you understand it in the way that a child would understand their own body. And then it's like, just kidding, everything you thought you knew, no longer.
Yeah.
And that's really scary. And I don't know, it's I've been thinking about that a lot, actually, like about childhood and adulthood. And it's just kind of weird, the things that I never, like, actively thought about, but like I was definitely uncomfortable. I remember like this is also really I remember us and talk about like our bodies. I don't know, this is happening right now. I was like the first girl in my class, which granted, small, very small class. I think there were like 6 girls and like 9 or 10 boys. But I was the first girl to get her period, and it was so embarrassing because I was like 10. I was 10. Which is really, really early.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know what to do. My mom didn't tell me anything about it. I thought I was
Good.
dying. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Great.
So I thought I was dying. I hid it for a while. I didn't tell anybody. And I remember one time, like, I was in the bathroom trying to deal with this, and like a friend of mine, in the same grade, like figured out what I was doing. I don't know if I was just like whatever, and she was just like, "Oh, you're a woman," and I like broke down in tears.
10 is a hard
I was
age.
10.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am not a woman. Oh my God, it was so terrifying. So it was like having to reconcile this like womanhood versus me just wanting to go like climb trees with boys. Like I was so confused. Like it was such a hard time. It was
Well,
so hard for me.
That's the part of the experience that I don't get and was sort of
Yeah.
fascinated by because like not just periods but also so girls shot up usually taller than guys.
Yes.
You guys started a year or two before us in most cases. Obviously there's variance in there, but so I just remember like 5th, 6th grade all of a sudden a couple of girls in my class were like whoosh,
Yeah, that was me.
and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I was the tallest girl. Again, I suddenly had like my growth spurt when I was like 10 or 11. And so I grew to about 5'5", which is my current height, by 6th grade. I was pretty tall. I was like the tallest girl in my class.
You're only
and
5'5"?
Yeah, only 5'5".
I feel like 5'6" or 5'7".
I thought I was 5'6", but it's like on my license. But I like measured myself the other day, and I'm definitely 5'5". So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. So not only did I get tall, but I got boobs in 6th grade, which
That's
I
the
don't.
other thing.
There's not a whole lot going on here, but in 6th grade, that was everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so boys started treating me different. It was a lot for me. I just wanted to be a boy, okay? Like
Yeah.
I didn't want any of this shit.
7th grade me was very confused by boobs.
Oh, I can imagine.
what are those? I like them, and I don't know why.
I know,
Like,
it's
what?
so stupid. And, like, for me, I, like, resented them because everyone treated me differently. The girls were, like, jealous, and they treated me differently. Guys would just stare at me and my boobs, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
God,
like,
staring was such a huge problem.
It was such a big problem. Like,
And that's
why?
the biggest issue. So, like, we talked about, like, haha, in front of the class boner, but, like, other than that, there's not a lot of visible signs of guys going through puberty. We get taller, our Adam's apple might pop out a little bit. You know, like, there are some differences, but nothing as noticeable as boobs. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, well, both guys and girls go through the whole acne thing. Ugh.
Yeah, but even that, maybe it's because it's for both. That's almost like a rite of passage. Like, almost everybody does. So you're like, oh, there it is.
Did you ever, like, were there like the really popular girls who did not have acne, and you're just like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand.
If they just didn't have the problem with it because they had good skin genetics, or if they wore copious amounts of makeup, or what. But
yeah, I mean, oh my God, like, even the copious amounts of makeup, that was actually worse because it just caked. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I guess it probably couldn't have been that, especially in Phoenix, because that would have ran if there was a ton of it on there.
Oh God, that sounds so awful.
Yeah, you try and cover it up, and you're just a mess by midday because it's 110 degrees. You're like,
this actually segues really nicely into, and I know you haven't seen the movie, but I saw a couple weeks back this movie called 8th Grade, and it is amazing how it, like, describes and shows what it was like in 8th grade, and it shows all the differences between now and when I was in 8th grade. But the main character is a lot like I was, but I love that she had zits. She was the actual age of an 8th grader. She wasn't like a hot 18-year-old posing as like a 13-year-old like a lot of Hollywood films do. She looked like an 8th grader, and I was just like, it just hurt my heart. I was like, babe, I've been there. It's okay. You know, and it just, like, every little thing that happens feels like the end of the world. Because it did. That is your entire world. And if something went wrong, it's like, oh my God, my life is over. And it was just, like, really beautifully done. I actually highly recommend it. It was very good.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know have we talked about Bo Burnham? We have.
Yes.
Yes. And it's amazing that a 29-year-old, 28-year-old man could have actually written that, because it's the main character is a girl. And as we've just discussed, the experiences in elementary, middle school, high school are vastly different for the genders. And so I was extremely impressed that he was able to he nailed it. Like, I don't know what that is. I know he, like, did a lot of research, and he worked directly with the actress, and he would go into the schools and he would do research and stuff, which is great. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that you're going to have a good end result. Like, it's actually going to feel realistic. So that was super impressive. And it also has me thinking about childhood and weird boners and shit like that.
What weird and troubled times those were.
I know. It's weird. I mean, I like to think about it, like, kind of in retrospect, because it did feel like the end of the world and something like, oh my God, I popped a boner. You know, oh my God, like, my period bled through my panties. I'm going to, like, die, you know? And it's just like, nobody fucking cares. Nobody remembers that shit.
No.
And thank God.
Well, I think it's kind of a lesson for life in general, in the sense that, like, you are always going to be so much more hyper aware of things that are going on with you than anybody else is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real, God, that's something that I have to tell myself daily. Like, I think it's a large part of why I still have anxiety, is I'm so, honestly, it's self-centered. It's kind of narcissistic. This is kind of the word of the day. I'm a little bit of a narcissist. I'm always just hyper aware of my actions and how I appear, but the reality is that nobody else does. Not really. Yeah. Not to the heightened way that I do, at the very least. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of reassuring in a lot of ways. Like,
once a week I skip a shower, and I go, and the whole day I'm like, oh my God, like, my hair's a little stringier, and, like, maybe I smell a little bit off. Like, I never, like, smell awful, but, you know what? Oh my God, what if people notice? But it's like one day and nobody notices.
Wait. Do you shower every day other than that one off?
Typically I do 5 or 6 a week, yeah.
Okay. Because, like, I shower every other day. So I'm like, whoops. Well, like, but then again, are you shocked? Because, you know.
No. And I also did scale it back when I was growing out my hair.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Otherwise, it dries out, and it's just not good. Yeah. Oh, my God, Chris, I discovered dry shampoo. It's the best thing on the face of this planet.
I guess familiar with this, but how does that work?
It is I didn't even know until literally this year. My friend was like raving about it. She's like, I haven't showered in 2 days. My hair looks amazing. And I was like, you should maybe shower. But also it's great for like camping or stuff like that. It is like a hairspray. So you just like spray it on and you kind of like work it into your hair and it absorbs the oils. And it just looks really good. Like I can go a full day without shower. And the thing is, like, I am the same way. Like I cannot wash my hair every day or it's just dry and frizzy and terrible. So I have to go without. But my bangs get really greasy because my forehead gets sweaty. I'm disgusting, basically. And so, and my hair is not that thick to begin with, and so it's really easy for it just to kind of like go straight through. And so it's like, I don't want to just like wash my bangs. That's weird. And so dry shampoo works like a charm. I want to say I have dry shampoo in today, and it actually looks pretty good.
There's the hair.
You can't tell. It looks like normal washed hair.
Your bangs are going over your glasses.
I know. I need to cut them again. They're going a little haywire, but
it's a little much. You know, as when I was growing up, you know, in the middle school age where I started to think girls were cute and not the worst. Yeah. I was like, I don't really like bangs, and now I'm like, I like bangs. I don't know. I don't know what changed. Maybe I just had bad opinions. I don't know.
Well, there's also different styles of bangs that are no bueno, and I think in like the 90s there was like still kind of the 80s like boosh, like the big old bang, and like that. It doesn't do a whole lot of favors to a face, but like nowadays we have kind of like there's like the straight across ones, there's like the longer like side swept bangs, and like that's more popular, and like they just look better, I think, like on any kind of facial structure. Whereas there were some iffy bang choices back in the day. Yeah. One that I kind of want to see go away, but I don't because it looks good on certain people, is like the pixie cut with like the really short bangs. Like I want to do it so bad, but I know I can't, and it makes me so sad. So I'm like, I want this to not be a fad anymore because it makes me so sad that I can't do it.
It'll die and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, and then it'll come back in like 20 years, and by then it won't matter because I'll be old as hell anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna be super old. We should rapid fire a few of these.
Okay.
I'm modifying number 48.
Okay.
Because apparently we're just going to go on similar tangents for all these, like technology and driving, which is the offshoot of this is, do you enjoy driving or would you rather be a passenger?
I saw that one. It really depends on who I'm driving with because I get super anxious when I'm driving. But if someone also is an anxious driver and or willing to be a navigator and very patient with me, I don't mind driving. But I prefer being a passenger, and I'm a good navigator.
I would rather drive 95 times out of 100.
Yeah.
I think it helps me, especially for like long drives. If it's a 10-minute drive to the store, like I don't care. I'm assuming for this question it's more like long haul stuff. I would much rather drive because then I get to pick the music because I'm the driver, and
that's true.
It helps me fill the time because, to be frank, I can't read while driving because I get sick pretty quickly. I can't really do anything that involves concentration. It's like video games, like a DS or something is out. So all I have basically is the sights, which, you know, if you drive around this area like New Mexico, suck. Or the music. So I better drive. At least it'll help me pass the time. Other people can enjoy doing things in the car that I can't do, and that's that.
Yeah. Oh God, it's my turn.
Yes.
Oh no. Okay, this is. I don't know why I'm being inappropriate today, but these questions interest me. Number 66. Do you believe nude photos can be artistic rather than erotic?
I looked at that one. I was assuming it also kind of applied to like art or whatever, just nudity in general, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think they can be, and I think there's an easy example, and that's the body image, or the body issue of ESPN the magazine, where they basically frame athletes, and you get to look at like, look how toned they are, and all these weird ways depending on the sport, and they're really not played up to be erotic in any way at all. I'm sure there are some people who do, because you know that's people, but they're really quite tastefully done, which is why a lot of athletes enjoy doing them, both male and female, including some people who have like non-traditional bodies for it, like big offensive linemen who are like not really all that toned, but they still are like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. The older I get, the more I really enjoy nude photos. I think I just kind of appreciate seeing different body types, and I appreciate like the confidence or the lack of confidence that you see in somebody in a nude photo. I think there's a lot of just raw expression happening, especially in the face. It kind of forces you to not objectify if you see a lot of them, and to kind of like see the human And that sounds really pretentious, but I really like nude photos. I think they're really cool, and I am never like, oh my god, I'm so aroused. Like almost never. That doesn't really do it for me. I mean, I'm kind of like I need to be emotionally attached to somebody to be like super aroused by them anyway. So that's kind of out. But yeah.
Yeah, I think poses and facial expressions are key. And
Yeah.
there's almost always a delineation between ones that are meant to be artistic and ones that aren't. So it's not super hard to separate to me. But as a country, I'm sure the answer would be no.
I know, right? True.
No, man. Let's have hyperviolence, but no sexuality.
God, that's so backwards, and it's so true. I don't know why this country is so, well, I was going to say puritanical. I think that explains it, actually. Historically, our country is extremely repressed sexually. Yeah, it's frustrating.
I lost the one I had. There it is, 38. And I want you to limit this to 3 to 5 and not every single thing on the planet.
Okay.
What fandoms do you consider yourself a part of?
So actually this is pretty easy because currently I'm not really a part of any. I would say that the most recent fandom that I've kind of dabbled in is Voltron Legendary Defender.
You did like to ship those boys.
They're good boys and I enjoy it. And the Elephant Six thing was not really a fandom. It's more of just a collective of artists that I like to follow, but I guess that's kind of a fandom. And I was really into Tales from the Borderlands. That was probably the biggest, most recent fandom that I was a part of, and I would write fan fiction, and I was super into it, but that has since passed. So I am kind of, Steven Universe.
I was going to say, Steven Universe was one I was going to bring up.
I'm still a fan, and I still look at fan theories, but I very much wholeheartedly disengage from any of the discourse because I can't handle it. And honestly, I think I'm done with actually entering fandom spaces nowadays. It's just too much. It's exhausting. These people take things way too seriously over a kid's show. My God.
And I'm not convinced that's altogether super different from a decade ago. Maybe it is a little more intense, but I think I just have less energy for it.
I think that's a big part of it. And I think there's just more people. And I think there's less of a separation between the creator and the consumer. And so now a lot of these consumers or big fans think that they can influence their favorite thing that's currently in the making, and they harass the creators. They'll send hate emails, or they'll dox the creators or the writers, and that happens a lot more now, and that's really gross. And that wasn't really possible until Twitter, honestly. Twitter and various other social media platforms where the creators were actually available for people to talk to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of but yeah, what about you?
I am still in the Phoenix Suns fandom. I actively seek them out. I've watched more games than probably 98% of the fan base the last few years, although I wouldn't say all of them because they've been so terrible the last 8 years. Mostly. They had one good season. So that's easily the one that I'm still part of now, even though I don't have the time for it anymore. Back in the day, I kind of experimented with a lot of stuff as a teenager, which sounds like drugs, but really it just means as I was trying to find other people who shared my interests. I found some at high school. Dave, even now, is still somebody who has at least a pretty good overlap with some of the stuff I like. But, at home, people didn't like the things I liked, and I didn't have a huge friend base of people who had similar interests. So I was looking for things I was a huge part of and a moderator at one point of a big Whose Line Is It Anyway fandom.
Aww.
And we did our own versions of the show in chat rooms and had all sorts of forums and stuff where that was a major deal. And for some reason, probably because I was, a teenager and didn't have good taste, I really thought there was a Flash guy on Newgrounds named Legendary Frog, and I ran those forums for years. And that was my go-to for a fandom of everything, even though that, by and large, after he got popular, the site stopped being about his movies at all. There was one little sub-forum devoted to it, and everything else was, general stuff and TV and movies and blah, blah, blah. So I had a lot more when I was younger, especially because I dove into them pretty heavily, and nowadays I just don't have the time.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same, but actually I have time. I could make time. I just don't want to anymore. It just gives me a different kind of vibe, and I'm kind of at a different point in my life where I don't really need that anymore.
I was even part of some there was a Diamondback site that I posted pretty heavily on, was a moderator for, was a head writer for at one point, or a lead writer, whatever. I still read that site and a Suns a few Suns blogs and a wrestling one, And even then, I barely comment anymore. I don't really engage. I read the stuff, but I don't like getting these back and forths with people or these arguments or stuff because I'm like, who am I trying to convince? What's the point?
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince almost anybody most of the time, so why don't I just keep my opinions to myself?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more round. So
okay.
I'll do the last one.
Dang.
The one I thought was funny, especially with video making it obvious, was like number 43. Hey, what kind of position are you in at the moment?
I just read that. It made me laugh. I'm like, I am hunched over like a Neanderthal.
I'm sitting. Thanks.
Yeah. Is there anything that is guaranteed to always make you happy?
Yeah, I saw that one and considered it. Waffles and rice does it for me these days.
I think actual waffles would do it for me. Rice can get fucked.
Rice is just kind of empty carbs, yeah.
It is, but waffles, I don't think there's really a whole lot that could have gone wrong in my day that someone would be like, but you know what? Here's some waffles. That I would be like, no, I'm still in a really, really bad mood. Like, I'd still be in a bad mood, but it would lift my spirits. Like actual waffles.
I think there's food occasionally will do it, especially if it's something I've planned to eat later in the day and then I get to it and I'm like, oh, this is my reward for a day. That usually makes me happy. Music sometimes is exactly what I need to get through a spot. Whether it's because I can't focus or because I'm down or whatever, music helps a lot. I don't know about guarantee, but it's definitely a go-to. That's kind of the main ones. Honestly, me too. Food and music. That's where I'm at. And Ophelia. Ophelia will make me happy. Ah, yeah. If I had a pet, it probably would, but unfortunately. Yeah. I imagine, like... lost my point. It's gone. That's okay. I imagine moving something. On. I know it's lightning round. I don't have time to imagine. What the hell was it, though? Now it's just going to bug me. Oh, I'm not old enough to be forgetting points midstream. No. Shit. I also forgot what question I was going to ask. This is great. All show's falling apart. Oh, no. God, I'm looking. If you have another one you want to do, that's fine. We'll just take the place of mine. I don't care. God, where was it? Oh, God. Well, what was the last formal event you attended? I guess probably the memorial service. Yeah, that's actually pretty recent. Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago. I literally cannot remember the last formal event I attended. Yeah, you really haven't been to like weddings and stuff, huh? No. This one you have coming up is like a new thing. Yeah, I've been invited to a couple weddings and I haven't gone. And this one coming up in January, I'll probably go to. But yeah, I haven't been to any funerals lately. I haven't been to any weddings lately. I haven't gone to the symphony lately. Work is super casual, so I never have to dress up. Yeah, I haven't been to a formal event in like 5 or 6 years. And I can't even tell you what that was. I think it was a wedding, like literally 8 years ago. Yeah, I have a number of weddings. There's a couple baptisms. There's the thing from a few weeks ago where, I dressed up. We were supposed to keep it lighter, but it was primarily it said don't dress in like black, so I wore a suit and then got up and spoke too, so I guess that was a thing. That's pretty formal, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty regimented and formal. Yeah. It feels like maybe 1 or 2 a year. I'm sure there are people who do a lot more, but, it's not really my scene. Yeah, no, it's definitely not my scene. That's another thing about Portland is that it's the most informal place I've ever lived. Like, you're not expected to dress up for anything at all, ever. Yep. So. Hey, Michelle. What? Ever written fan fiction for anything? Yes, I have. Yeah. I wrote really weird fan fiction for Death Note. Yes. I wrote really weird fan. You have. There was some weird sexual tension between Elle and a tennis racket. It wasn't intentional, but there it was. I mean, the handle is ready-made, so. It was supposed to be Elle and Light, but you know what? Sometimes your heart knows what the true pairing is. I also wrote extremely bizarre Fullmetal Alchemist fan fiction with Havoc and Ed. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I think it was because it was a rare pair, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. I also wrote fan fiction, which I have not shared with you, with Katsukyo Hitman Reborn.
and it was pretty good. People loved that. That was pretty popular for a while. I don't know if you're familiar with that manga or anime.
Nope.
It was terrible. It's just a pretty standard shonen, but it was beautifully drawn, and some of the characters were really cool. And then most recently, I did one for a comic, like a not very popular. It was kind of like a web comic I did, and that was probably the most popular thing I've ever written. And then I did stuff for Tales from the Borderlands.
I miss webcomics.
I do too. I mean, they still exist, and they're
know.
definitely in these little tiny communities. But they used to be like a thing. Like I think we were talking about Mega Tokyo a couple weeks back, and like that was a phenomenon.
Yep.
Like everybody knew about Mega Tokyo.
Theater was huge in like, the early 2000s.
And then Homestuck kind of became a thing. Like that was more recent.
Penny Arcade, which is still going.
Penny Arcade's a big one.
Control Alt Delete before the miscarriage debacle.
Yep. What is it, the XKDC or whatever that one is?
That one's been long running and still going, yeah.
Still going, yeah. So, I mean, there are fewer story-based ones, like character-based, and more like one-off funny comics, like actual comics, as opposed to like a story. But,
I used to follow like 20 of them. Maybe that was the thing where it was sort of like yours from earlier, where I kind of ran out of time because it was too much, but... I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I don't even remember the names of half the ones I used to follow if I really wanted to try to get back into them.
You just reminded me that there's this comic I was following forever, and then I just stopped because, I mean, they would update like twice a week. So they were just small little panels, and you kind of let it build up, and then you read, build up and read. Actually, there's two of them that I haven't looked at in 6 months. I could go back and have a whole evening of catching up. I might do that tonight, actually.
There's one I recommended to you that you never checked out.
Which one?
Questionable Content.
I remember that. I didn't read it.
This would have been
like 4
years ago.
I remember you recommended it to me. I do remember the name.
It was a thing. I just didn't care about it.
I remembered that you recommended it to me. I think by then I was like elbow deep in so many webcomics at the time, and it was overwhelming. But now I don't read any.
I miss them. And finally, number 84. Is there anything else you should be doing right now? And the answer is yes. Apparently, I have breaking news to get to. So it's time to end the show.
Oh.
Well, we had a really long episode, as it turned out. Whoops.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay, over an hour. That's fun.
Yeah, I have the recording thing down the bottom right. And even though we have to edit the first 4 seconds out, it's going to be an hour 7. So,
jeez. Nice.
Whoops. But it makes up for the fact that we have no Tuesday show, as we've talked about, just Thursdays for the time being. And that's the end of this particular episode. In between shows, you can find us on our website, objectionnetwork.com. You can send emails to the show to objectionnetwork@gmail.com. You can find us on social media, or the husks thereof, for Facebook and Twitter @Team Objection. And finally, find us on youtube.com/objectionnetwork for our video game playthroughs, and eventually our D&D series will also return. See you next time.
Bye.